Hi friends, thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button, leave a like. It really helps us get the word out and helps the channel grow. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Good old TikTok.
Indeed.
Ooh, we got CFL hot topics, NFL hot topics, NFL predictions. But let's start off with we also got some Winnipeg Jets and NHL talk because Benny's wearing the jersey. Let's start off with some CFL predictions going into the home stretch of the CFL season. Our Winnipeg Blue Bombers are visiting the BC Lions. Thoughts on that game?
It'll be an interesting game with all those guys being sat. I guess not all those guys. Kolaros for sure. A few guys out with injury. Hardrick is doubtful. Dietrich Nichols is also away, personal matter. So it'll be a bit of a different team. I may have to, just with the guys that are out. No, you know what? I'm going to stick with Winnipeg still winning this game over BC. I was going to swing to BC there a little bit, but as long as no other guys sit out, if Stanley Bryant plays, I think the Bombers will be okay and be competitive. Drew Brown, we've seen he can actually play. He looked pretty good so far this year.
Yeah, Drew Brown is quite the athlete, and I'm excited to see him play, see what he can do with a lot of the number ones. Like you mentioned, a couple number ones will be out. I think Couture is actually starting next game.
I guess 5. So who's moving to Hardrick's spot then?
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So with that said, I think I'm going to take BC at home. They have a lot more to play for. They'll probably be more physical. And they'll want to beat the Bombers. The Bombers are just that team to beat, that everyone brings their best from week to week. So I think with Bombers going on the road, nothing is at stake. I know you can say, it's a game. We'll still go in prepared and good to go. It's a little different when you already clinched the West Final. You might be playing these guys. You probably won't show them everything you have in your playbook. You'll probably have a slimmed down playbook with Drew Brown, so I'm going to take the BC Lions at home.
Yeah, that's all true with all that stuff. I mean, the Bombers could definitely go in vanilla offense. The one thing is they'll have most of their D. Jeffco was questionable, so maybe that he'll come out and play. But yeah, I mean, the Bombers have nothing to play for, like you said, besides getting a 16-2 record, which at the end of the day is nothing without a Grey Cup. So
exactly, yeah,
BC's got a great chance. Great chance for BC to take these games from the Bombers and end up hosting the West semis.
We better take advantage. Rematch in Ottawa, Als versus Bobby Dice and the Red Blacks. I'm going to take Bobby Dice and the Red Blacks, mostly because it's Bobby Dice. And I love cheering for the Winnipegger, and I think he should get the job. Did you see that press conference, the video about on the team
in the locker room
after the win? Yeah, a lot of bombs by Bobby Dice. Got some North End spirit right there. So I'm going to cheer for Bobby Dice to win this rematch. Even though it's hard to win a back-to-back in any kind of league, I'll take them.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Montreal in this one. Ackland's out for Ottawa, big loss there. Montreal can clinch a playoff spot with a win here, but I'll take Montreal. I don't think they're going to get beat twice by Ottawa.
Let's look at Hamilton and Calgary, both teams with playoff implications on this game. Hamilton still to get in. Calgary still fighting for position and home field. Yes. Who do you got in this one?
Simone Lawrence back. Malik Henry out for Calgary, but still going to go with Calgary at home. Hamilton still too inconsistent. Dane Evans, ever since that Bomber game, I don't know what happened to him. He was like the MOP in that game, and then all of a sudden he's reverted back to himself. I think Calgary will win this one probably easily.
I agree. Calgary at home. Jake Meyer, they're still trying to get that offense rolling. Even with Malik Henry out, they still got some good weapons. They still got a stout running game, and they still got a great defense. So Calgary to take it at home. Last matchup of the week, the Argos visiting the Elks, who are bound to win at home, but I don't think it's going to be this week. I think Toronto's still trying to find their groove. They still got a lot of work to do going into the playoffs. So I'm going to take Toronto on the road to beat Edmonton because they're no good at home. No,
they're not good at all. I mean, yes, they got some wins on the road this year, but
they're better on the road.
They haven't looked good. I'm going with Toronto as well. Argos win. Montreal lost. Gives Toronto the East. Wrapped up. It's interesting. Do you think if Toronto were to wrap it up, would they rest guys or would they continue to play? Because they still don't have that rhythm. Like, they don't look great all the time.
No, they haven't earned the time off.
Yeah.
They have to play through the stuff they're trying to figure out. And maybe it's mostly on Dinwiddie. because the inconsistency there reflects on his coaching, which is very inconsistent. They're a team that no one really goes into confidence taking unless they're playing a team like Edmonton.
Yeah, and they then, like you say, I think a lot of that does fall on Dinwiddie's shoulder because he's been there for a few years now and still continues to make the same mistakes or the same coaching mistakes over and over, right?
Yeah.
So he definitely needs the experience more. So yeah, you could rest guys and he could still be calling the same kind of plays and the same kind of mistakes, but he'll have to figure it out.
Yeah. Let's go back to BC where they got some good news with Nathan Rourke. A little bit of clips online, seeing him throw the ball. It's still not ready to go, but they're hoping in one of these last 4 games that they have that they will see Rourke get some in-game action, maybe not a whole game, but some spot duty and perhaps be ready for the playoffs. Exciting?
Yeah, that'd be crazy because that instantly puts BC back as a contender. Right now, they're kind of on that fence and probably on the other, or close to the other side of it, not being a contender with Vernon Adams at the helm. Rourke would definitely boost them back up, and it's good to see him throwing. It'll be interesting to see if he gets out there. Campbell says there's a chance, not a guarantee, but he's not putting him out there for false hope or anything either. So that hopefully goes well for him.
Well, he had that Linz-Frank sprain or Linz-Frank foot injury.
And he had surgery.
You don't want to put this guy in too early if his mobility is not there, because he won't be as effective as a QB without his mobility. And that probably puts him in more danger. Even anything less than 80%, I think, is pretty dangerous to put that guy in for the team to win and for his future. Yeah. So I hope they take it nice and easy. Don't force him in. Don't give him like a full game to end the season. Give him some spot duty. And as a Bomber fan, kind of don't want to see him. As a CFL fan, it's cool to see him making a comeback.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Wait till make sure he's close to 100% as possible. Don't risk it because then he'll always be back next year. You don't want him to re-injure and then set back for next year at all or anything like that. So yeah, make sure he's ready to go. I agree. I don't want to see him in there as a Bomber fan, but for the CFL and for the games, it'd be pretty exciting.
That's how good he is. He makes BC a Grey Cup contender.
Yeah,
they're not a Grey Cup contender. I don't believe they're a Grey Cup contender with Vernon Adams. I think they're a team that could pull off a couple wins in the playoffs if they're feeling it. But with Rourke, that's next level right there.
Yeah, they'll have a tough time against Calgary with Vernon Adams. So,
he's inconsistent. He is who we think he is.
Good for halves, good for quarters, but not so far, not full games.
No, one good season. That's it. Dynasty of none. Let's look at. We talked about the Grey Cup. Bombers looking to send in a proposal for a 2024-2025 perhaps Grey Cup. Thoughts on that? Are you excited? Of course, the politicians getting in on that. The government already committing $5 million to this bid.
Yeah, I'm on board with it. I mean, it usually brings in a ton more money than what they put out for it. So that'll be good. They haven't hosted since 2015 or something, right?
Yeah.
So you want to it's too bad they didn't have a Grey Cup in this year or last year or next year kind of thing, right? Because by 2025, maybe it's back to rebuilding kind of things again. But you got to cash in. Well, you never know. It's 3 more years from now, right? Things change or whatever. So you want to cash in while the team's really good and have a chance to play a Grey Cup at home as well, right? Yeah. So it would have been nice if it was now or a couple of years, but 3 years, you might be pushing it. Well, 2 years, I guess, if they get to 2024. It's not bad.
This is a bread that can bring like $90 million into the Winnipeg/Manitoba economy. I'm looking forward to it. Last Grey Cup was here. That was fun. I'm going to be honest. Our stadium isn't the best for a Grey Cup. On a path like Banjo Bowl, walking through concessions is horrible. Yes. I don't know. Is it like that at other stadiums? It wasn't like that. Well, I shouldn't use Sky Dome as any kind of benchmark there. Sky Dome is cavernous on the busiest of days. So, but there's just no room to move. The seating setup kind of sucks. I hope it's configured better going into this next Grey Cup.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one I've been to is Taylor Field, and that one wasn't great either. So maybe Mosaic's better with the concourse. But like you say, yeah, it's tight. So when you get 33,000 in there, even over 30,000 at all, you're spending a lot of time. Just like, the West Final last year, I spent the whole quarter trying to get hot chocolate.
Oh,
and then they ran out.
Of course they did. And they ran out of hot chocolate in August. That makes no sense.
No.
But yeah, I hope the Bombers are able to configure that stadium better, because I think last time the Grey Cup was here, didn't even venture back to the seats. Just kept walking around and around because it took that long to get back to the section.
Yeah, it's tough because they got a lot of stuff in the concourse and, selling food, drinks, or whatever, that kind of push out. And then that, it squeezes everything in quite a bit more. So,
yeah. I love IGF, but don't even get me started on the whole building process and what was done in cracked cement. And anyways, we should move forward.
Great seating, all that, great views, great sound in there. But yeah, some stuff just didn't work out.
Can't go back.
No, tear it down.
Hey, Canadians. Let's go to the NFL. Let's look at some NFL predictions this week. Let's start off with the Bills versus Chiefs. What a good matchup there. You can go first on this one.
Yeah, how come this is not a Sunday night or Monday night game? We get to watch the Broncos again or whatever on Monday night.
What's the score in this barn burner of the Commanders against, who are they playing even? It doesn't matter.
The Bears.
It was 3-0 in the second. What is going on now? This is ridiculous.
It is 12-7 with about 2 minutes left for the Commanders.
Oh my gosh. They're going to be leaving by the fourth quarter no matter what, those fans.
Well, yeah, it's in Chicago, so I'm surprised if they haven't left yet already.
Go Justin Fields.
Thursday nights, man.
Chiefs wearing those beautiful orange jerseys. Bills versus Chiefs. Who you got in that matchup?
I'm going to go with the Bills. I expect high-powered offenses, obviously. The Bills do have the slightly better D. As long as they get a bunch of their injured guys back, they should give the Chiefs a little bit of trouble. But I still think there will be lots of points in this game, but I'll take the Bills on the road. I as well will take the Bills. I think they're hungry to avenge that OT loss last year. Yeah. Well, not last year. This is just this year in the playoffs in January. So I think the Bills, with a slightly better defense, will win, and they won't have to depend on overtime or any of that silliness. It's going to be an awesome game, though. Yeah, exactly. Cowboys, Eagles, NFC Beast division. Yeah. NFC least for the longest time. Yeah, NFC Beast for now. I'm going to take the dynamic Cowboys defense to give the Eagles their first egg of the year. Either thoughts on that? Yeah, the defense will be tough for the Cowboys for sure. I'm going to slightly lean to the Eagles just because they'll have the slightly better offense than Cooper Rush, unless somehow Dak gets back in there, but I don't even know how he would be. I think it'll be both defenses will be good. It'll be quite the defensive battle on both sides. I think the Eagles will come out on top. Yeah, I think the Cowboys will probably continue as they have been, really leaning on that rushing game rather than have to put it on the shoulders of Cooper Rush. Yeah, but they might have to if they get behind late in the game. We'll see what Cooper Rush can do. Yeah, if he balls out and has to come back for a victory or something like that, that'll up that controversy a bit. Well, for sure. Let's look at this barn burner: the Patriots versus the Browns. Not really a ratings grabber, but a very interesting matchup. It was really hard for me to pick in this one. Who do you got? Did you hear that Deshaun Watson's facing another lawsuit? Well, he ain't playing this week. I know. I'm going to go with the Browns. Clown. What a clown. Yeah, he is clown. Things just keep getting worse, and the fact that he gets to come back in this league possibly this year is kind of ridiculous, but I'm going to go with the Browns. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say on this. Belichick really shut down that Detroit Lions offense, last week. But Chubb has just been playing unreal. Brissett's just got to not make mistakes. I don't think there'll be much scoring in this game, actually. I think both defenses will be pretty good again on another one. But Browns for me. I got the Browns on this one. I also got Chubb going nuts. The Patriots are giving up more than 130 yards rushing per game this season. They stopped Detroit, but they're not going to be able to stop Chubb at home. Detroit was missing a lot of guys too, so that's not happening. I'm taking the Browns to beat Detroit. Chubb will eat. Oh, that rhymed. Yeah, that was pretty good. Write that down. Put that in the comments. What's your best NFL rhyme, friends? Put that in the comments section. Last matchup of the week: Bengals versus Saints. I'm going to take the Saints on this one. I really liked what they did with Taysom Hill. And I'm not confident in the Bengals. They just haven't found that magic. And it's frustrating for someone who took the Bengals to make the Super Bowl, but I'm going to take the Saints. Saints at home with their defense to stop the Bengals. Wait a minute. Didn't you take both these teams?
Oh yeah, this is my Super Bowl matchup. This is a Super Bowl preview, friends. Look at that. I didn't even notice that when I picked this game.
Until you said it out loud there, I was like, wait a minute.
They're both in there. So this is it, friends and neighbors. The Super Bowl preview of this year. Put that down. Good eye, good ear, good memory.
Wow. Yeah. I'm going to go opposite you and pick the Bengals. D is actually playing pretty good. I think they'll be able to shut Taysom Hill. Winston may be back, but he might be missing some weapons. Michael Thomas. Olave is still a game time decision. Concussion protocol, so we'll see what happens there. Bengals for me.
Bengals, Saints, Super Bowl.
Who did you end up picking? Do you remember?
Bengals.
You picked the Bengals, right?
Bengals.
Yeah.
See? What a great story. The Bengals avenged this loss in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Friends, put your Super Bowl predictions in the comment section if you haven't already. NFL hot topics. Already one coach being run over by the firing bus, Matt Rule in Carolina. Who else is on the hot seat?
I'm going to go. I have a couple, but the one I think maybe it might be more is Cliff Kingsbury at the Cardinals. Underperforming a little bit this year. Defensively, they haven't been very good. Yeah. Kyler Murray still hasn't been consistent enough, and the offense hasn't. So I think if he loses a couple more games, his seat could get really hot, and he may be the next one gone.
I think a lot of these coaches that I've been looking on the hot seat, I have a couple, like Lovie Smith, Dennis Allen, who I just talked about in the Saints, if they can't straighten out. But I think both of those guys are they're gonna survive the season.
Yeah.
I think Lovie Smith is just a placeholder in the first place anyways. But I think Ron Rivera, he's on the hot seat. Even before his stupid talk about Carson Wentz or his mix-up about Carson Wentz, this dude's on the hot seat. And you know what? I wouldn't blame him if he left. That organization is a joke. Did you hear about this owner now?
Oh, yeah.
This guy got a private investigator to get dirt on other owners and the commissioner, and he'll use it, including his friend and the only guy who supported him, Jerry Jones. Ron Rivera, don't wait to be fired. Quit. Get out of there. Trash organization.
He's actually on my list as well, on the hot seat as well. And the Commanders they've been poor, and him criticizing Wentz like that. And, your team's got to be better too all around. But I agree. I don't even understand why he took this job in the first place, because it's not like Schneider became an a-hole in the last 2 years. I mean, there's stories about him even before, and Ron Rivera, he's a good person and all that. Yeah. So it's like, why would you go there? Like, are you thinking you're going to fix the organization and all that? But
without a doubt, he thought he'd bring a culture fix.
Yeah, but you can't change the owner, man.
That's pride. That's a pride call there.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can fix the team. You can have the team playing a certain way, but there's no changing that owner, man. Not at all. And you know what? I hope all this stuff comes out, because, the NFL kind of needs to be blown up a little bit. So if he does have info or whatever, hey, let it all out, man.
Like, look at all the trash with Hockey Canada. And that organization is 1,000 times smaller than the NFL.
Yeah.
You telling me there isn't institutional garbage going on in the NFL?
Oh, big time.
Sure, let it out.
For sure, man.
Let it all out.
It's going on, and then the commissioner's job is to keep it all under wraps. So,
of course, when you're being paid like 30 plus million by each team, of course you're going to try and keep it under wraps.
It doesn't make sense otherwise to pay a commissioner that much money, really.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because you're controlling, his best interest, or his most, whatever it's called, is making sure that the teams are safe and the owners are safe.
Yeah. CYA, cover your ass, cover everybody else's ass.
I like that. Cover your CYA. NHL talk?
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit of Winnipeg Jets. The Jets announced their alternate captains. Thoughts on that? Any problems?
No, I mean, it's basically, we got Mark Scheifele, Josh Morrissey, Adam Lowry. Those are the 3 alternative captains.
Yeah.
Not really surprised by any of that. I thought maybe Ehlers would sneak in there. PLD probably, if he signed a long-term contract, would have been in there, but
I thought he would have been in there. I thought they'd use that to help him.
To try and get him.
He's gone next year, man. He's gone.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to give him an A and then have him wanting out at some point in this season. So, a big step for Scheifele. Well, I mean, Scheifele had an A last year, but there's no captain this year, so he's got to step up a little bit in that leadership role. I can see him or Morrissey being the next captain of this team, depending on what happens this season. Lowry, good leadership role for him to finally get in there too. He's been with the Jets for a long time, so he's always got a good presence on the ice.
I think that I really like that one. Of all of the assistants, I expected Morrissey, I expected Scheifele. I was hoping Lowry because I think it's one of those moves that will help improve his game. Just like I thought maybe giving an A to PLD would might be convince him to stay a little bit more, give him a chip. I think this hopefully will raise Adam Lowry's game to give him that A. Give him a leadership role, give him some accountability. And I think he's one of those guys who will call people out in the locker room if they're not doing their job.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those roles because like we always used to talk about, it wasn't the best player on the team that was usually the captain, right? Back in the day, in the 80s, 90s. It was just a good leader, right? So if Lowry can step into that, he's not the best player on the team, obviously. If he can grow into that captaincy, position, then hey, great. And then you got this guy who plays a hard game and it shows on the ice and more people will want to follow that. So absolutely. It wouldn't be a bad choice there. Good choice for alternate captain for sure.
Yeah. I like these three. Will
it help them win? I don't know.
NHL hot topic. Will the goaltending changes in Toronto and Edmonton work? Let's start off with Toronto. The season hasn't started yet, and I've already said they know who we think they are. It's just Toronto's like Samsonov and Murray.
Well, even last night, Murray's first game, he started off strong, but he only faced, I think, 23 shots, and he ended up giving up 4. So Samsonov played tonight actually and won the game against the Caps. But yeah, the defense is still not great. It's the same guys. Nothing changed there. So they're giving up a lot of quality chances. Like Murray in that first period made a lot of good saves from in close. So to me, the defense didn't really change. They don't have enough depth there. Depth. Oh boy, in Toronto, if an injury happens there at all. So I don't think it's going to change much for Toronto. I think it's going to end up in the same kind of heartbreak. Maybe they win around this time. Who knows? But it still probably won't lead to a Stanley Cup.
Did you let Samsonov play against Washington tonight?
Yeah.
And he won.
Yeah.
There you go. He was a little inspired. Just like Matt Murray. Seriously, the past 2 seasons, the guy is under or over 3 goals against average, hovering around 90% save percentage. I don't know how that says starting goalie. And I guess Samsonov's young.
Injured a lot too.
Yeah. Samsonov's young. Was the most he's played like 40 games in the past couple of years.
Yeah. It hasn't been too much, and he's been inconsistent too. So
Samsonov is young, and he's also one who's below 90% save, above 3 goals against average. And like you said, Toronto doesn't have the D to support that kind of goalie.
No. Yeah, you're going to basically need him to stand on his head at times. I mean, they struggled against Montreal a little bit yesterday, a bit better today against Washington. But when you play those better teams, you need both D and goaltending to be on top of form.
Absolutely. In that sense, that's why I'm taking Jack Campbell in Edmonton. He's just in a better situation. Their defensive unit, not to say they're miles better than what they have in Toronto roster-wise, but they have a good coach who plays a good defensive game. So I think the addition of Jack Campbell will help them go further. Possibly the Cup final, but I'm not taking it.
Yeah, they need to get better. I mean, yesterday they still gave up a lot of shots. Campbell shaky at first, but when you got Connor McDavid getting a hat trick and all that, you got a good chance of winning a game. So a little bit shaky on D. We'll see where it heads out. But like you say, Woodcroft usually likes playing that more of a defensive game. He had to open up as they got down early yesterday. But again, Edmonton kept pretty much the same D as last year. The only difference was Ryan Murray, who has never really been a great defenseman anyways and has moved around since his being drafted by Columbus. So it'll be a long season. I'll agree with you on the edge, Campbell so far. I mean, I'm surprised Toronto wouldn't have kept Campbell. He did pretty good for them last year. So we'll see. But I think both of these teams will end up faltering at some point because of their goaltending.
Yeah, I think faltering for Edmonton would be not making the Western Conference final.
Yeah. Or yes. Yeah. They should be back there, and I think they'll be disappointed if they don't make the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I agree.
Toronto will be happy if they win around.
That whole city. Parade time, parade. Benny, you got a brickhead for the week?
I do. Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun writer, for his comments that basically try to discredit Hakeem Alou for his claims of racism in hockey, and it not, or basically destroying his career. Basically, Simmons is saying because Hakeem was not a good hockey player and bounced around from team to team, what he is saying is almost not true.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Absolutely.
it's disgusting comments like that. It's like, doesn't matter. Even if he flamed out in junior or not flamed out, only made it to junior or played high school hockey, you got to listen to his claims of this stuff. He's not making it up, and it doesn't make you an expert on it compared to him because he didn't play that many games in the NHL.
Like, this guy has been a bumbling fool since the 80s and 90s. This guy was on TSN on the Reporters with Dave Hodges, and he was always the weakest, stuttering, idiotic panelist that was on that TV show. Is that guy where it's like, why is this guy on TV? Number one, he doesn't sound good. Number two, he has a radio face. So I don't know why this guy even gets a platform. Just be done with Steve Simmons. He's been he passes due date since the mid-90s, man. Get the clown out of here. That's all I got to say about that dude.
Yeah, it's disappointing that guys just have to do stuff to try and get clicks or read their articles or whatever. It's like, in this day and age, it's like, man, just write good stuff and people will listen to you or read you or whatever.
Yeah. Or
controversy stuff or this kind of stuff is not needed.
Accept that you're irrelevant and move on. You are irrelevant. Shout out. Let's talk about some good people. I'm going to give a shout out to 2 Manitoba athletes who won the Tom Longboat Awards. It's the annual award presented to the top Indigenous athletes in Canada, and Manitoba swept it. We had wrestler Connor Church, who was a Métis wrestler from Winnipeg, and rower Leah Miller from Pimicikamak Cree Nation. I hope I said that right. Apologies if I didn't, but shout out to both of them for winning the Tom Longboat Award.
Right on.
Yeah, amazing. We swept it, Manitoba.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to give a shout out to another Manitoba team, the Winnipeg 1v1 Football Dreams Academy U15 girls soccer team. They went to PEI and won a national title in Charlottetown.
Nice.
National soccer title. Yeah, I said they were a soccer team. Yeah, so shout out to them.
Shout out to Manitoba and Winnipeg, sweeping the shout outs and winning some good hardware out there this week. Benny, you got anything to say to our friends out there?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening to everybody. Thanks a lot for subscribing, and have a good weekend.
And to steal from the famous words of Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.